On the day of my wedding, my fiancée rushed off to take care of her so-called benefactor senior brother's orphaned younger brother, leaving me standing alone as the laughingstock of the entire event. The wedding was called off. My parents were furious, and everyone present ridiculed me behind my back. She said we could always get married another time, but first she had to repay this debt of gratitude. After hearing her words, I calmly gave her a thumbs up and said, "Well, you're kind. You're noble. The world really should take you as an example. But I think we shouldn't get married after all. You might be willing to raise someone else's child with no blood ties, but I'm not." At the wedding venue, my fiancée suddenly changed out of her wedding dress and walked straight out through the main entrance in casual clothes. I was completely dumbfounded. The wedding march was still playing, and the host's voice cut off abruptly mid-sentence. The host was a girl in her 20s who hadn't been in the industry long and had clearly never seen anything like this, an actual runaway bride straight out of a TV drama. She froze on the spot. My parents froze as well. The guests began whispering among themselves. My father, unsteady on his feet, rushed onto the stage, grabbed my arm, and asked anxiously, "What's going on, son?" Everything was going smoothly, and now the bride's gone. "You should call Monica right away and find out what's happening. Today is your wedding. Everyone is waiting. This isn't a joke." My father's voice snapped me out of my daze. Meeting his worried gaze, I finally came back to my senses. Right, the phone. My fiancée's strange behavior had started right after she received a call in the dressing room. I couldn't help but wonder who had called her, and who could possibly be important enough for her to abandon our wedding and leave me humiliated in front of everyone. Monica had been my girlfriend for 3 years and was also my junior at university. I was the head of the campus media center, responsible for hosting events both on and off campus. We first met during the National Day celebration in my junior year, where we co-hosted an event together. Monica was beautiful, had a sweet voice, and stood out among the hosting team. I was the one who pursued her. Growing up, I'd always believed that when you encounter something, or someone, you desire, you should boldly go after it. Love was no exception. Because of Monica, my reputation on campus changed completely. I went from being the cool guy to being known as the campus simp. I never missed an opportunity to show up at events she attended, always hovering around and taking care of her needs. Fortunately, my efforts paid off. After 6 months, I finally won her over. On the day I confessed, she cried and told me she was soft-hearted and couldn't refuse sincerity. Looking back now, being soft-hearted really is a kind of flaw. The day after the wedding fiasco, Monica showed up at my door with a boy. I thought she was there to officially break off the engagement and make a public statement, but the first thing she did was complain. "Simon," she said, "this is my senior brother's younger brother, Duncan. He was in a car accident yesterday. He grew up relying only on his brother, and I couldn't just leave him alone. We can get married again, but if something happens to him, how could I face my deceased senior brother? You're such a good person, you understand, right?" Martin was Monica's senior at university, the same senior brother she mentioned all the time. I'd never met him, but I'd heard plenty of rumors. Kind, upright, thoughtful. Monica had told me countless times how much she owed him. Knowing she was struggling financially, he helped her apply for scholarships, took her to hosting gigs to earn extra money, encouraged her, praised her, and helped her grow from a shy, introverted girl into someone confident and poised. From her stories, I could understand why she felt indebted to him. But even so, I couldn't accept her explanation now. I'm a good person, so I'm supposed to understand her disappearing from our wedding without a word? Honestly, in my book, good person isn't much of a compliment. It's practically synonymous with pushover or fool. The boy she brought with her looked about 20, with sharp features that would appeal to most girls. He stared straight at me without a trace of guilt for ruining my wedding. What he said didn't sound like an apology, it sounded more like bragging. "Simon, it was me who called Monica yesterday. I had a pretty bad car accident, and since I don't have any relatives in the city, I panicked and called her. I was so confused that I completely forgot she was getting married." I suppressed my irritation and carefully examined the boy before asking calmly, "A pretty bad car accident? You seem to be walking just fine. No injuries on your face or body. Where exactly are you hurt? No hospital? No checkup?" Before he could answer, Monica immediately stepped forward, shielding him protectively. "Simon, I'm explaining things to you. Can you stay rational? Why are you questioning a kid like this? I already told you we can reschedule the wedding. You can't nitpick over something so small." Her words made me laugh in anger, my tone turning icy. "Nitpicking? Monica, you're the one who vanished from the wedding. A whole room full of people came just to witness this disaster. I don't care if I lose face, but what about my parents? People are laughing at me. 10,000 yuan for the venue and setup, 8,000 per table for food, and none of it could keep the bride in the room. Now everyone thinks our marriage lacks affection. And you think we can just redo the wedding? Will your family be paying for it?" In all the years I'd been with Monica, I'd rarely spoken harshly to her. But this time, I couldn't stop myself. Monica came from a single-parent family. Her mother was bedridden and couldn't even attend the wedding. Monica's income went entirely toward medical bills, leaving her constantly short on money. I knew all of this, and because I felt sorry for her, I'd never let her shoulder any financial burden. My family is well off. I have a good job, and my parents are healthy. Before the wedding, I discussed Monica's situation honestly with my parents. We decided my family would cover all the wedding expenses and that her family wouldn't need to provide a dowry. As an only child, my parents didn't want to shortchange either me or my future wife. They bought us a house, a car, and even gave us a dowry of 188,000 yuan, also I could marry Monica in a dignified, respectable way. But the wedding fiasco humiliated my parents. My father had to take heart medication just to calm himself. He didn't blame anyone outright. He simply advised me to find out what had happened and ask Monica to make a public statement to avoid misunderstandings that could damage our marriage. I never expected Monica's attitude to be worse than I imagined. The moment I mentioned money, it was as if she became a completely different person. She glared at me with undisguised contempt and spat venomously. "Simon, just because your family has some money, do you have to bring it up at every opportunity? You only care about your parents losing face. What about mine? Didn't I tell you about senior brother Martin? He helped me so much to get where I am today. How could I not repay this debt of gratitude and ignore his brother's situation? Duncan has already suffered enough. Don't you have any compassion?" At that point, my patience was completely gone. I glanced at the smug boy beside her and gave Monica a thumbs up. "Well, you're kind. You're noble. The world really should take you as an example. As for the wedding, I don't think we should go through with it. You might want to raise someone else's child with no blood ties, but I don't." The conversation fell apart. Monica stormed off with the boy, throwing over her shoulder, "You'll regret this." Later, a friend of mine who was overseas somehow heard about the disaster at my wedding and called me. During the call, he dropped a bombshell. "Dude, I never liked your girlfriend. I told you before she was using you as a stepping stone, but you wouldn't listen. Look at what happened. Didn't I call it? If she's so obsessed with repaying favors, why get married at all? That so-called beneficiary, Martin, wasn't just her senior brother. He was her former crush. And Duncan looks just like him. This is straight out of some tragic drama. Don't get me wrong, but even if you redo the wedding, you'll probably end up in the same mess." His words hit me like cold water. No wonder Monica had acted so protectively toward Duncan, like a mother hen guarding her chick. It turned out she was treating him as a substitute for her long-lost love. I'd heard about Martin many times, mostly about how he'd helped Monica, how sorry she felt about his early death, and how grateful she was. But I'd never known there was a hidden backstory like this. A chill ran through me as I checked Monica's social media. She'd posted a photo of herself with Duncan. The caption felt like it was aimed directly at me. "Since I was young, my mom taught me to always repay kindness. I promised myself I'd find someone with a heart full of gratitude and make them my partner. If I can't find that person, I won't marry." I couldn't help but laugh. Even now, she was clinging to that narrative. If she wanted to repay favors so badly, then I'd let her repay to her heart's content. I contacted one of my university professors to ask about Martin's family. The situation wasn't much different from what Monica had described, but the supposedly poor, helpless younger brother wasn't nearly as innocent as she claimed. The professor warned me, "Simon, stay away from that family. Martin was a good kid, but his younger brother is nothing but trouble. He dropped out of high school, hangs out with lowlifes, fights, gambles, even solicits prostitutes. He only ever showed up to ask his brother for money. Debt collectors are after him now. He even wrecked a car recently. If you see him, keep your distance." Debt collectors. A car accident. My chest tightened. Why did all of this sound so familiar? Then it hit me. The car Monica drove away in after the wedding was mine. When I returned to the apartment, I headed straight for the underground garage to pull the dashcam footage and see for myself what kind of serious car accident Duncan had supposedly been in. Instead, I ran straight into Monica and Duncan, both carrying bags of groceries and heading upstairs. My mind went blank for a moment. Monica lifted her chin proudly and said, "Simon, Duncan's such a good kid. He felt bad about causing trouble between us, so he went out and bought all this to make it up to you. I've thought it over too. What happened at the wedding was my fault. Don't be mad. Let's have dinner and talk it out." When I didn't respond, she grabbed my arm, pouting. "Honey, you know me. I just have a bit of a temper. I didn't mean what I said back then. We've been together for 3 years. How can we just call off the wedding? There were reasons for what happened. Duncan and I are willing to sincerely apologize. Please, be the bigger person. We still have a future." Just as I was about to reply sharply, I caught a fleeting flash of irritation on Duncan's face. I immediately changed my tone. "Let's go upstairs first." Duncan eagerly grabbed the bags from my hand. "Brother-in-law, you and sis go ahead. I'll handle these." Monica patted his head smugly. "See? Didn't I tell you he's such a good kid? So obedient." If they hadn't been standing right there, I might have thrown up. Watching them walk ahead together, so cozy and close, I curled my lip into a bitter smile. Tattoos, piercings, reeking of smoke and alcohol, and he was a good kid. If this kid ever betrayed her, I hoped she wouldn't come crying to me. That night, I had no appetite at all. I barely spoke during dinner and didn't lift a finger to help. Before entering the apartment, Duncan had bragged about having endured hardships and being able to handle anything, so I casually said, "In that case, why don't you handle cooking and washing the dishes tonight?" and promptly assigned him to the kitchen. After all, he couldn't come to my home and leave without doing something. Monica shot me a disapproving look. "Simon, seriously, who asks a guest to cook? He's just a kid. What can he even do?" Duncan's face stiffened at my words, but after hearing Monica speak up for him, he quickly adjusted his expression and began comforting her instead. "Oh, it's no big deal, sis. Ever since my brother passed away, life's been hard. I've had to cook and take care of the house all by myself. Maybe Simon just can't cook and wants to try my food. Don't worry, sis. I'm used to taking care of things." I didn't respond. I only glanced at Monica coldly, and her expression immediately turned a little awkward. It was obvious Duncan didn't know me well enough. He had no idea how I earned the title of simp back in the day. I had treasured Monica so much that I ignored the burdens her family placed on me and overlooked her constant indifference. I never let her lift a finger at home. After we moved in together, I handled all the cooking while Monica spent her evenings sprawled on the couch, shopping online or binge-watching shows, waiting for dinner to be served. Duncan's attempt to stir things up was completely misguided. Seeing that neither Monica nor I reacted to his words, he awkwardly slipped into the kitchen. I had planned to have a serious conversation with Monica, but before I could even open my mouth, she couldn't stand seeing Duncan working alone. She stood up and went in to help him. I stared at her warmly engaged back, and for a brief moment, my thoughts drifted. That kind of thoughtfulness, I had never received it. Even when I was burning with a 39-degree fever and still worried about making food, Monica would lie in bed and offer a perfunctory, "Thanks, you're working hard," as if it were nothing more than polite routine. And now here she was, someone who had never even sliced a piece of fruit, volunteering to help prepare a complicated dish. At that moment, clarity hit me all at once. Monica and I were completely finished. Looking back at the past 3 years, was she ever with me out of love? No. She stayed for money, care, and tolerance. But love, that had never been part of the equation. Dinner ended without any real drama, but the strange tension between the three of us lingered. The clock pointed to 9 p.m., yet after washing the dishes, Duncan showed no intention of leaving. He sat beside Monica, dutifully peeling fruit for her. Monica glanced at me several times before cautiously speaking. "Simon, look at how considerate Duncan is. Doesn't he remind you of Leo?" Leo was my cousin, someone who had always disliked Monica. When he found out I planned to marry her, he was so upset he didn't even attend the wedding. I was surprised she brought him up so suddenly, but her intention soon became clear. "Didn't you say recently that you're short on an assistant? Duncan's smart and reliable. Why not let him work at your company? And since he's having trouble and can't stay at his old place, our guest room is free. He could live here, and you two could carpool to work. It'd be convenient." I was stunned and stayed silent for a long time, processing what she had just suggested. When I finally spoke, my voice was cold and emotionless. "Did you see the job posting I put up? Bachelor's degree, 2 years of work experience, proficiency in Excel and PowerPoint. Does he meet those requirements? If he does, fine. Bring his documents and let him interview tomorrow. Don't talk about arranging anything yet. I still have to consider what's best for the company. Even if he meets the criteria, he'll have to go through 3 rounds of HR interviews. If he passes, then we'll talk." My words left both Monica and Duncan speechless. Duncan forced a smile and tugged at Monica's sleeve. "Sis, if Simon doesn't want to, it's okay. Don't push him because of me. My brother used to say heroes aren't judged by their background. Sure, I don't have a high education, but wherever I work, I'll put in the effort." As he spoke, he pretended to wipe away tears that didn't exist. Watching the act, Monica's expression hardened, and she turned on me angrily. "Simon, how did I not realize before that you're such a materialistic person? All you care about is education and money. Do you even think about other people's feelings? Duncan may not be highly educated, but he's honest and hardworking. Why wouldn't he make a good assistant? Why does the company need all these rigid requirements? You're looking down on him like he's some stray dog." I laughed bitterly and refused to retreat. "Education and money aren't important? Then how did you get your current job? Could you have gotten it without either?" Monica fell silent, completely at a loss for words. I had reached my limit. "Please take your benefactor's brother and leave. Go repay your debt wherever you want. Just don't bother me anymore. The guest room is for actual guests. I don't know him, and we're not family. And let me be absolutely clear, we're done. I'm not joking. The car is mine. The house is mine. Take your things if you want, but leave the car keys. I'll change the door lock code. Monica, let's not see each other again unless absolutely necessary." She stood frozen, finally realizing I wasn't bluffing about calling off the wedding. But she was too proud to back down in front of Duncan. So she stormed out with him. Less than 30 minutes later, I received a bank notification. "Your XX bank account was charged 899 yuan on August 17, 2024. At the same time, my membership account at a 5-star hotel gained 899 points." I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She could act tough, but when it came to spending money, she didn't hesitate. Even after everything, she was still using my money to book a luxury hotel room for someone else. I immediately canceled the family card and called the bank to freeze the credit card I had given her. After handling everything, I called my parents and told them what had happened. My father was furious but relieved we hadn't officially registered the marriage. During the call, I also learned that Monica's mother had been secretly pressuring my family for the dowry. Thankfully, my mother had insisted on waiting until after marriage registration. At least we hadn't lost that money. I thought that was the end of it. But when I arrived at the office on Monday, I was completely caught off guard. Monica stood in the lobby, eyes red and face haggard, with her supposedly bedridden mother beside her. The moment I saw the old woman, I knew I had been deceived. Someone capable of rallying a crowd to cause a scene at my company entrance was definitely not sick. To prevent drama or staged accidents, I immediately ordered the media team to bring cameras and record everything from every angle. Within minutes, Monica's mother and the crowd around her were completely surrounded by cameras, all of them dumbfounded. Standing in the center, I gestured for them to continue. Don't stop. If you're going to make a scene, do it properly. I need this footage. Louder, don't be shy. It was obvious they had never dealt with the media before. Panic spread quickly. People tugged at Monica's mother's arm. You said we were just holding a banner to give you courage. You never mentioned cameras. I didn't tell my family. I'll be humiliated if this ends up on TV. Aren't you his mother-in-law? Doesn't he listen to you? Tell him to stop filming. This is making me uncomfortable. With this setup, we'll need more money, at least another 100 each. Your son-in-law's rich. Don't push him too hard. Think long-term. Hearing the complaints, Monica grew flustered and tried to calm her mother. Mom, I told you. Simon doesn't respond well to threats. This won't work. It would have been better if you pretended to be sick and I acted sweet. I watched them coldly, silently observing. Suddenly, Duncan charged in like a cartoon hero. He rushed forward, grabbed a camera, and smashed it onto the ground. The crash stunned everyone. The smarter people in the crowd immediately slipped away. Monica's grateful look toward Duncan was shattered by my calm voice. Nice job, Duncan. I was just wondering how I could call the police since the damage was under 3,000 yuan. That was a 24K HD camera. Market price, 23,000 yuan. Who's paying for it? You'd better decide quickly. The crowd scattered in fear. Monica's mother turned pale but forced herself to speak. You can't scare me with money. You dated my daughter for 3 years and wasted her youth. Just because she wants to repay a favor, you turn your back on her? Justice will prevail. If you don't give me the dowry, I'll bring people here every day and expose you. I laughed. This isn't the place for speeches. Go ahead, expose me. Want to talk about your daughter running from the wedding? Or her cheating? I've got dashcam footage. Want to hear it? The moment I said that, Monica and Duncan panicked. Monica screamed at me, accusing me of being despicable, claiming it proved nothing, accusing me of wasting her youth. I felt nothing anymore. Only pity. Monica, I said calmly, you should understand the law. Your mother caused a public disturbance. Duncan committed criminal damage. Instead of shouting, think, who's paying for the 23,000 yuan camera? Duncan clung to Monica, begging for help. Before she could respond, her mother slapped him hard, screaming insults. I saw something snap in Duncan's eyes and signaled my team to step back. The police rushed in, but too late. Duncan pulled out a knife and stabbed the old woman, cursing her as he did. You damn old hag. You think you're better than me? Your daughter's been sleeping with me behind your back. She's only into me because I look like my brother. And I'm already buried in debt. I can't pay 23,000 yuan, so why don't we just die together? We'll go see my brother in hell. Monica screamed and shut her eyes at the horrifying Sig HT. The police reacted quickly, tackling Duncan to the ground and restraining him, while paramedics rushed forward to take Monica's mother to the hospital. As Monica, broken and terrified, was led away by the police, she reached out helplessly. Just like on all those nights when she was afraid of the dark, she reached toward me for help. Simon, I'm so scared. Can you help me? I didn't know Duncan was like this. I know I was wrong. I'm really scared. I looked at her and gave a contemptuous smile. Now you're scared. It's too late, Monica. I'm scared too. You're the kind of person who terrifies me. Witnessing a murder firsthand, it's impossible to say it didn't affect me at all. But knowing Duncan's nature as a societal parasite, I had already formed a certain psychological expectation of how things might unfold. The irony of it all was unmistakable. Mrs. Song, who had spent years maintaining the image of being frail, had finally made that image real. She was stabbed 3 times in the abdomen, all life-threatening wounds, and was left in a vegetative state, kept alive only through 4 fluids. Monica's monthly salary of just over 4,000 yuan was clearly nowhere near enough to support her. When I heard she had resigned from her job at a friend's company, I wasn't surprised. She had always cared deeply about saving face. The assault case had a massive impact, and the media coverage failed to blur her identity properly. Everywhere she went, people whispered and gossiped, especially since she had worked at a company owned by her ex-fiancé's friend. Knowing I would never forgive her, she never appeared before me again. Instead, she sent a letter through a mutual friend, claiming it was meant as an apology. I didn't even bother reading it. I told my friend to handle it however he wanted and passed along a single response. This isn't the time to write apology letters. I get dizzy reading. I don't care for them. I know very well that I once sincerely loved Monica. I gave her endless kindness and tolerance. In this melodrama disguised as repaying a favor, I gave her chance after chance. From the very beginning, I reminded her repeatedly that even if she wanted to repay a favor, she should first determine whether the person truly deserved it. She never listened. Instead, she constantly accused me of being narrow-minded and not kind enough. Was I really unkind? If I truly had been unkind, the entire conflict would have exploded the night I obtained the dashcam footage. I could have exposed the entire farce at the wedding itself. But I thought of her, the girl I had genuinely loved. Preserving her last shred of dignity as a woman while completely removing her from my life was the best solution I could come up with. I still remember a question Monica asked me during the first year of our relationship. She asked what I would do if one day she made a mistake so outrageous, so irredeemable, that it couldn't be forgiven. At the time, I answered that I would preserve the last bit of beauty and let her disappear completely from my world. I kept my word. The one who should feel regret was never me. The next time I encountered Monica was 4 years later. I was shopping at the mall with my wife when a clumsy saleswoman bumped into me. I instinctively reached out to steady her and asked cautiously, "Are you okay?" The haggard woman raised her head, her face filled with shock and panic. My wife, her arm looped through mine, leaned closer and asked curiously, "What's wrong, honey? Do you know her?" The woman stumbled back and hurried away. I smiled faintly and tightened my grip on my wife's hand. "No," I said gently. "I think she mistook me for someone else." "Come on," I added. "Let's go buy something for the baby."